Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new stream. Today, I'm gonna play for you two tables at NL25 Zoom as usual. Let's start with the action. Okay, let me put this here. That's fine. Okay. Jack deuce is gonna be a fold. Queen 5 off may defend if the small blind recreational raises, but unlikely the button does, so we are just gonna fold. Queen 4 offsuit. Also gonna be a fold. Let's see this ace-7 suited. Could be a 3-bet for sure. Time to time. I am going to 3-bet this time. We also 3-bet on table 2 this hand versus a recreational player. The flop is definitely interesting. I don't see much value in betting. He will fold everything that we beat. The turn is obviously pretty nice. Now we can get value from his aces and sometimes some two-pair stuff like this. We are gonna bet this size. I think is gonna work well versus a recreational player. He calls. The river is nice as well. I am going to tank a bit and then shove, hoping he is not going to be able to fold a two-pair, which is going to be usually the case with a player like this. And so it does. Nice. Queen 7 off. We are going to just fold while we have Queen Jack suited on table 1. It's a hand that we are normally going to 3-bet. Sometimes even called for betting is an option if we feel like our opponents are gonna defend not lose enough to this line. Of course, the original raiser, if he doesn't fold, he has a super ultra premium hand, but this time not. Oh, I didn't play the music. Let me play some. Okay, I think you hear that. I hope. Check the microphone. Yeah, it's working. The music also. Okay. King Queen, we do raise. But maybe more interesting on table 1, we do 3-bet with ace queen. King queen, we just got the blinds. Recreational player calls, we have nice blockers and some vector. We are definitely going to c-bet the flop. We are going to fire again on decent amount of turns. Expecting to float with some hands. I don't mind to be aggressive here. We don't have any particular history, so I don't expect him to bluff catch too widely. And he doesn't. On 5-6. On table 2, we do raise and we get the blinds, which is nice. Let's see if we are live. Yes, we should be live. Let me put the chat, which I don't see right now. I'm going to 3-bet this time. Let me put it here, maybe. Okay. Table 2, we go and call with this hand. We are gonna check. Check call this flop. We've definitely seen better turns, I would say. Check fold with this hand, I would say it's a must. We have terrible blockers with the 10 of clubs. We block flush draws, we block straight draws, and you know, just a terrible hand to bluff catch. Queen 7. Not gonna 3-bet this, a bit too loose. I don't think you're burning money anyway if you 3-bet in positional recreational with that, assuming he is bad enough. But it would depend from this. If he's really terrible, I don't mind 3-betting. If you have no info, just he's a recreational, maybe it's a bit too loose. Ace 3 is offsuit. We are gonna open. We make it 3x when the big blind is a recreational player because we are not gonna receive that many 3-bets, and if he calls, well, it's not a bad thing. If you have position, we have a nice gut shot. With a regular, I would sometimes check, sometimes bet, but versus a recreational player, I would just bet 100% of the times. With a hand like this, on a board like this, he calls, the 5 hits, I don't mind to keep firing, especially with ace high. The nice thing about having ace high is that sometimes when we'll give up on the river, on a river like this for sure, with ace high we have showdown value versus his flush draws, for example. So sometimes here betting twice and then giving up is definitely fine. Not this time when he has pocket sevens. 10 jack off. It's a hand we can use as a 3-bet in position versus somebody who looks like a recreational player. He calls. The flop is nice given the blockers we have. We are gonna bet the flop. We're gonna keep firing a lot on a board like this. If he raises, I'm not sure we can fold, especially because I think he's on the aggressive side. And on table 2, I'm just gonna bet 3 because I want to raise for value. He is quite short, so I don't want to exaggerate anyway. We see bet the flop. He quickly calls. I don't think he's gonna fold this turn ever, and we just let it go. He checks back. He might have a flush draw sometimes. I'm gonna check and reevaluate. We have some showdown value. You know, it's quite suspicious that he's gonna check back turn and then shove river, because this is a turn in which I expect him to bet if he has an ace. This thought is a bit crazy, but you know, I think it can be an okay call, hoping it doesn't have king high. Oh, he has the 9. Okay. The 9 was legit. 9, I would expect this. I think when he plays this way, either he has the 9 or he has nothing, because it's very weird that he would check back the turn with an ace and then shove the river. It's not very logical on a recreational perspective. But the 9 makes sense. They are a bit more tricky with that. Ace king, we open, we have a nice flush draw. I am going to c-bet, I would say. This guy raises, I'm gonna call the flop, and then that's a nice turn. Would have been better a lower one, or the ace, of course. I'm gonna call. And if he bets small, I think I might raise for value even. If he bets big, I'm just gonna call, of course. Like this, I'm just gonna call. He has the ace, so too bad, but I think we have to bluff catch that. On table 2, we are gonna bet. The turn is not great. We're gonna check. Checks back. He has a lot of medium value hands. I'm gonna check and probably fold. Yeah, it's the same as before. So now that I've seen he's checking back the ace, I think the call I've did previously is even better, because we see it doesn't thin value bet. So it was really polarized before. Ace jack on table 2. We raise. We have again ace king on table 1. We are gonna raise. Shove if he 4-bets. He doesn't. Check on table 2, and he checks back. Does it make any sense to bluff here? I don't think much. I'm gonna check. Can he value bet? That's another thing. I would say yes. This guy's probably also capable of raising as a bluff something like a 6s, 7s, 8s, stuff like this. Okay. Queen 9. We do raise. Okay. We're gonna value bet the flop with a recursional player. Quickly calls. Gonna bet again on the turn. Quickly calls. Ace on the river, not the best river. If he shoves, we're gonna fold. He checks, gonna check back. I don't think we have that much value here. He has a draw, nicely. Luckily didn't bluff it, because we would have folded that. Table 2, I don't mind sometimes to check raise a hand like this with really poor showdown value and low playability. So check raising here and maybe bluffing spades I don't hate. The ace may be also an interesting bluff. Of course, I don't think in terms of ranges versus a recreational. Of course, we don't have an ace when you play this way, not many. To think of what he may be folding or not fold, and we bluff now. Hoping he can fold something medium value here. Just thinking about it, so it's already nice. Sweet. Sweet. I think something really important is when you play versus a recreational player, you should really stop thinking in range versus range, but rather start thinking in your hand. Your hand versus his range. And in that situation, you know, range versus range, to me, the ace was pretty much a blank card, and so if he had a bluff catcher, he would have bluff catched me at a high frequency if he was thinking correctly in ranges versus range, but since he does not, and he thinks about his hand, usually, the ace is an overcard, it may be a scare card. It doesn't think in... It's not thinking of, do I really have it or not? It's just a scare card. So I think when you play versus recreational players, it's not about not bluffing them. It's about bluffing them on cards that are scary to them. I'm gonna 3-bet now here with ace king, with kings. We also have ace king on table 1. We'll see which is the most interesting one. Table 2, villain calls. The flop is obviously nice. I'm gonna bet big versus a recreational player who's gonna call me with a probably very wide range. Does not this time. On table 1, this guy called 4 bets. I'm gonna shove 120 blinds. He's a recreational player, but it's not tight pre-flop, so I'm just gonna shove my blockers and obviously equity probably. And he folds, which is of course great. King 7 off on table 2. Nothing. We have queen jack suited. We do raise that. And we do raise ace 9 on table 2. We just flop a flush. That's quite nice. I'm gonna bet big versus a recreational player, hoping he has something worth raising. That would be very nice to see a raise on his side, because he's gonna be pretty strong. The 5 sucks because I don't think he's ever gonna check raise us. Therefore, I would just bet big myself, hoping he has at least a queen or a jack that he would probably not fold. Him raising would be super weird. Ace 5. We raise. And we have king deuce. King deuce, and I don't mind over limping in a situation like this. Just a fold here, nothing to do. 9-10, folding king 7. We have a limp. This guy is playing 55-26. Quite interesting. Can't do much though versus an isolation. Ace 9, 4, 9. Ace king. We do open from the cutoff. Let's get 3-bet. I am going to 4-bet. He's playing like a maniac. Calls the 4-bet. It's gonna be interesting with him. We're gonna bet. Okay. Ace 9. Could call. unless villain bets too big. He does not, so we are gonna call. Check if he checks back, I'm gonna bluff the river. Probably. Yeah, I feel like I have to do it on a board like this. Even something, even a small sizing on a board on a river like this, I would say it's okay. If he has nothing, he's just gonna fold. Even if he has something like a low pair. He folded the edge. He folded the 10. He says. I don't know how much to believe it. I doubt. But okay. The river sucked. To be honest. So yeah. Queen 10 on table 2. Seven, 8 on the big blind. Let's see if it's gonna be playable. Not really, not really, not really. I need suited. That's a bit more interesting. We raise, we make it 3x, given the blinds are both recreational players. One of them calls. It's a good flop for us, and usually bad for what he calls on the small blind. Quirky calls though, but I would try to insist. I don't think he's calling many kings there, even if he's a recreational player. Yep. On table 1 instead, we raised, and this guy made it click raised. We are going to check out this flop, obviously. The queen is bad in the sense that now we split with all the aces, so not gonna get any value from them. Gonna bet small. He's gonna call it kings, sun queen. I'm not sure he's raising much. As a bluff, I mean. So I think we can fold. Table 2 instead. This is interesting. I feel like this regular is gonna fold too much if I raise, and when he makes it 5 pre-flop, so I'm just gonna call. It's very weird. It's a very weird hand because there was a limp. Gonna call now, obviously. It's gonna be very difficult for us to fold. And I don't mind checking back when you have 2 queens and the queen of clubs on a turn like this. Okay. Shouldn't have a 7 that frequently, so I don't mind here betting big with a club blocker for thin value. I'm gonna go with jacks, maybe 10. Ace 4, we fold. Jack 6, also we fold. 4, 6, we fold. We're gonna raise this, blind versus blind, especially when the big blind is a recreational player. Pre-flop is playing quite standard though, but if he has this label, it means he did something weird. But yeah, probably it's one of the more standard recreational. Maybe it's just a bad regular. King 6. We raise. As we do raise this one, but we are gonna fold to a 3-bet from somebody who is not 3-betting a lot. We do raise with the ace deuce. We just have a flush. We're flopping a decent amount of flushes recently. We're gonna bet. The raises. I don't mind raising back, to be honest, because I think he might have something nasty here. Okay, the ace is fine. Fuck, I didn't want it to pair. Should you make a shove for thin value? I don't think. I mean, I'm not sure you're gonna call with a low full house here. With a low flush. Sorry. I think we should check back. But yeah, when the board pairs, the problem is that of course we lose to a full house, but also he was. I mean, if he was a bad player, I would have definitely shoved. But since he's a regular, I feel like he wouldn't call with a low flush when the board pairs, because then he's really beating nothing. Sick river. Table 2, we do raise, and he folds. Table 1, we check. Probably gonna fold if he bets. Check raising is sometimes an option with a hand like this. I'm gonna do it because I have the club blocker, but you know, it's not a must. If it was a regular, I would probably not do it because we don't have 8s, we don't have queens, we don't have queen 8, we don't have deuces for strong value here. So I would not do it versus a regular, but we can do it versus somebody who is probably not reasoning much in terms of ranges. Table 2, we do raise, and this guy makes a very small 3-bet, and this guy calls. We have to call. It's a terrible spot because king queen off is really a hand which plays bad in a spot like this. The king is good, of course. We're gonna check and see what this guy does. We have no info, but of course he's a recreational player given the sizing he used. We're gonna check call here and then see on the turn what's gonna happen. If he makes it 25, 20, something like this, I would be very scared. When he makes it this sizing instead, I think we can call still, of course. Let's see, on the river, same reasoning. I mean, if he makes it 40, it's probably gonna be a fold. If he makes it half the pot, I feel like I have to call with a complete unknown, a recreational.
Who are you, stranger? My name is Vincent,
Nice.
son of Ragnar Lothbrok.
Table 2, queen jack, fold. King 6. Ace 7 on table 1. Ace 10, I would 3-bet it time to time versus a regular. Even versus a recreational could be a 3-bet, to be honest. Just important that we 3-bet enough. And 7, on a table like this we can raise. Got a fold though. To a 3-bet. Queen 10. We are going to ISO. And I'm gonna bet aggressively versus a recreational player, especially when a time like this hits. Can you ever value bet? Probably a bit too thin. After the king hits the turn, we're gonna have maybe a bit too much fold equity versus an 8. So I'm just gonna check back. Okay. On table 1, I'm just gonna call because this guy's super short, and if I raise, I don't want him to shove and oblige me to call with a hand like this. Probably should float here on the flop, and then reevaluate on the turn if to bluff or not. If he checks, I think we are attacking. If he bets, we're sure folding. We are gonna check and bet on this flop. Pocket nines. Do raise. Okay, then we go to queen 10 suited. Can sometimes 4-bet if this guy 3-bets. Being deep stack might become pretty interesting for him to defend. Okay. But when we raise with queen jack offsuit. Eight 4 suited. It's gonna be just a fold. King 9 off. Okay, we might defend versus late position or small blind. I don't mind even to 3-bet versus the button. So most players do not 3-bet enough from the big blind, which means that also the average pool is going to give maybe a bit more credit to the 3-bets from the small blind, from the big blind. But maybe yes, maybe not. This guy squeezes. This is a decent hand to place a 4-bet. Also, we don't want to just go. I mean, we could call eventually, given this bad player, keeping this player in the pot, but I don't mind both lines, to be honest.
Who are you, stranger? My name is Witzerk, son of Ragnar.
He calls, and the flop is quite interesting. I think here we are betting with a super high frequency, and I'm gonna bet even this one. He's gonna fold queens and jacks, which of course is not awesome given we beat them, but at the same time, it's not a hand we're gonna get any more value later unless he hits a set. So if by checking we don't make him bluff more, it's still pointless to check. Ace king on table 1, and we just take the blinds. Jack deuce. Jack deuce, it might be a nice bet, nice raise from this position. Nope, not when the cutoff raises. Gonna call to a 2x from somebody who is likely to be recreational. This flop sucks quite a bit, so I'm gonna let it go. On table 2 instead, we are gonna 3-bet on the small blind with pocket 8 versus button who looks like a recreational. Big blind is playing 300 big blinds deep with us. Would have definitely called a 4-bet. We're gonna check here. We have some important blockers for his calls from behind, so I'm gonna check. And I mean, we're gonna check more when you're deep stack in general, so I prefer to check all this combo on the flop. We let him bluff at least. The turn is not really nice. We've seen much better than this. I don't think he is gonna have a queen this much. He might have jacks, or a jack, of course. But I'm still gonna check here, and if he bets, we're gonna make a decision. Pocket 8 with the 8 of diamonds is not really nice. The jack on the river is nice when we don't think he has a queen that much. We're gonna lose sometimes to 9s and 10s, obviously, but it's gonna have also 7x, 6s, 5x, stuff like this. So I think we can go to showdown. And we do win. He had pocket deuces. Pocket 5s on table 1. We're gonna just call here, given the blinds are both recreational players, and the flop is not the nicest. We are just going to float once, probably, if he bets. I don't think I'm gonna call more than this. I mean, we're gonna have some nice rivers, but of course, when you overbets, we're not priced in at all. We just let it be. We 3-bet on table 1. This nice flop hits. I'm gonna bet the flop. Pocket deuces. You have a limp and a small raise. You can also just call here and let the other recreationals chip in. Almost a quad. Let's go on table 1. We have a fairly decent hand-check raise. Our blockers are top-notch. I have a gut shot. Okay. Calls. I feel like I'm gonna still bluff. We are obviously gonna bluff a club on the river. No need. Kiranov. Gonna be just a fold. Ace Queen on table 2. We do raise, and we get a couple of calls. 3 calls. I presume most of them are recreationals, 2 are for sure, and because of that, even if it's a multi-way pot, I'm just gonna bet big for pure value on a board which shows many draws. One of them calls. The 6 of spades is not the best card ever, but still we have value, and I'm still gonna bet. Can we thin shove here? If he checks, of course. I mean, if he shoves, it's a clear fold. This is always a flush. Like, literally, he has always a flush. Could we have shoved if he checked? I would say. It could. I mean, if we know he's very aggressive, but we need to have this info, we could also call. Given King Jack and 9 Jack are busted, but we don't have this info, so I'm just gonna fold. What I want to say is that before making this kind of calls, you need a read on the kind of recreational you're playing with. Most of them are not that aggressive, so when they dunk shove the river, they have it. We 3-bet on table 1 versus this guy. Don't I want to change the label? Table 2. 5, 6. We do raise, and the big blind, who is quite tight, calls. I see bet flop. I think this guy is probably going to play really ABC. Four is though a very nice card for us to keep firing with a 6-eye, and he could have bluff draws. So if we are ever gonna bluff, I would say we're gonna bluff something like this. Pocket 9s on table 2. We raise. This guy 3-bets, and I would normally consider calling over betting this hand. With just one issue, this guy is playing so far over a little more than 500 hands. He is playing 12 VPIP, 9 PFR, and 5% 3-bet. I think we should just fold and let him have this. He's not gonna exploit us for that, and we're not gonna print money. Ace 5. We raise versus a limp. The flop is sweet. We bet for value and protection, and he folds, which is okay given protecting our hand was one of the goals. Queen 9 on the big blind, gonna fold to a 3x, while the Queen 6 maybe we're gonna play. Oh yeah, we are. Queen 6 we do raise, and if the big blind 3-bets we're gonna fold obviously, otherwise we're gonna play a nice spot in position. We are not. King 7 suited on table 2, 2 hands with a big blind, so if he 3-bets we are just gonna fold. If he calls, I'm gonna treat him as an average unknown, and I'm gonna c-bet range this board. Not that this is not what GTO would suggest here, but I think in the player pool versus unknowns is the best strategy yet. He calls. The 8 is not the best card ever. I think I'm gonna check back if he checks. We'll bluff some river. This is one of those. Not gonna make it huge, and if he bets, I'm just gonna raise something big this time. You know, on average, people are not bluffing enough on these spots, so I suggest you bluff situations like this because they don't expect you to bluff enough, and they're gonna fold a lot, as this guy did. Ace 9 off. Okay, we know he's a recreational player because this sizing, whoa, we are gonna call. Terrible hand to call with, but the flop is nice. Gonna bet big versus a bad player. Bet big on the turn as well. Gonna tin shove the river if he checks. Well, tin shove no, but I'm gonna bet big. Something like this. If he check shoves, it probably has aces. Or ace jack. No, it doesn't. Sir, 3-bets must be a bit bigger for a reason. That's one. He had kings, he couldn't fold. I'm gonna bet big here versus a bad player. You know, I'm gonna still bet for thin value here. I feel like he might call with a lot of draws and he's gonna fold a king anyway. But I'm not gonna bet this river because now he's not gonna call with much but an ace or better. Nice. Here, after this guy check raised on the flop, I am going to bet small on the turn. It's gonna be enough to make him fold his bluffs. And if he check raised twice, it's very rarely a bluff. Just fold. Table 1 with ace 8, we do raise. And we are going to check fold this flop. Unlucky. We're gonna check even this turn. If he checks back, well, 5 high is gonna be a bluff. And it is. Something like this is gonna do the job. Nope. Oh boy, this guy. Naughty caller. Okay, I'm gonna put a note because that was sick. Oh, it's the guy. It might be tilted from the previous hand, but yeah, it's a bit of a calling station. Even the previous hand, he made a very loose call, so yeah, it's just a calling station. Actually, I think I made the wrong sizing there. Even smaller was fine. The board was so scary that there was no need for an overbet. Ace King and sixes, we raise with sixes. King, Ace King, unluckily they just gave us the blinds. Not the best board in a three-way pot. I'm gonna check, and if the guy behind me checks, we might consider bluffing some turns. Not this. I'm gonna check. You know, we may have the best hand sometimes. If they all check, I'm pretty fine with having with pretty happy, but now we just have to fold. Queen 10 off. We do raise on the button. King 10. Squeeze incoming. Yeah, I'm still not sure about this guy. I'm not sure if he's a recreational or a bad regular, and that's it. Still confusing me. Still confusing me quite a bit. Okay, 4 bets. We have no info, risk, so just gonna fold. King Queen on table 1. We do raise. Five deuce. We go in the muck. Three bet this. Okay, table 1 we have 5s. We can 3-bet in position versus a bad player. My phone is exploding right now. Every time when I start to stream, this happens. It's quite sick. This guy leads out. Not a good news in a 3-way 3-bet pot. Just gonna fold my hand. Oops, I misclicked and limped 10 deuce suited. That's not ideal. I'm gonna fold, of course. I mean, I should probably call given how deep we are, but my philosophy is if you misclick, just let it be. Table 2, we have King Jack. We do raise. This guy 3 bets. I don't mind 4 betting. Of course, this guy folds. As long as this guy folds, obviously. We have a very nice spot on table 1. We have aces and they squeezed. We are just going to make a small 4-bet to this recreational player, hoping he's not gonna fold to this size. He calls. I think he would have shoved kings. But if he doesn't have kings, he probably doesn't have ace king as well. So I feel like we have to bet very small here. King Jack, the 4-bet was successful. And we're gonna call. King Queen. Ouch! We trapped him nicely, but Ace Queen, we do 3-bet. And Ace 1, we also 3-bet in position. This guy called 4-bets, he's a regular, I don't mind shoving as a bluff time to time. Totally fine. So for the ace. Ace on the river. Nope. No ace on the river. Too bad. Too bad. Table 2. We have 7-8 and we do 3-bet. Nice flop versus probably a recreational player. I'm gonna bet. We are gonna raise on with pocket eights on table 1. I'll stream for about 10 minutes more, something like that. Along with Queen Jack, we do 3-bet. This flop hits. We're gonna see bet flop. Nice. Gonna 3-bet this. Six 5 suited on table 1. It's gonna be a 3-bet. Let's see. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Small blind, cold. And call instant, obviously call as well. You know, given how many times they're gonna have a small pair in a spot like this, I don't mind to just place this c-bet with 6-high. We're not gonna continue, obviously. It's just to make them fold low pairs that are gonna have a lot. But they both call, and we have a straight draw now, which is gonna be nice for us to try to hit for free. We don't. Unlucky. We're done. They have some aces in the range, and so we're just gonna let it go. Pocket tens is gonna be enough. What this guy call with on the flop if he lost to tens? Boy. Pocket jacks on table 1. We do open. We got a call from the button, one call from the small blind, and one call from the big blind. Everybody in. I don't think we can bet for value here. Two of them are regulars as well. Just gonna check back. Can we start betting on the turn? Well, maybe. Maybe. But still I don't like it because it's gonna be a very tough river to play. Well, river is nice though. And I think if I bet, some of the regulars might also choose to raise for bluff or team value. Table 2, we 3-bet, check back the flop. I think I'm gonna check back even this turn. The river is nice. Should we ever value bet if he checks? I would say it's a possibility. We block pocket tens, which will be one of the sickest hand he shows up with. So I don't mind doing that. I would have preferred to overbet though. Okay. We're opening 7-9 suited on table 1, given the table. Check 3. It's probably gonna be a call. Ugh, it's quite close. It sucks really to play in a 4-way pot this. We let it go, let it go. We do raise this, and we are gonna fold to a 3-bet here. Ace queen suited. It's gonna be a 3-bet. This guy is a regular, I think. Ouch. My headset is hurting. I worried too much today. Quattro. Q8. Q8. Gonna fold to this action. On table 2 we have ace 4 suited, which is gonna be a call, and it's an interesting check raise versus a recreational player. He doesn't bet though, and I'm gonna check turn, bluff river probably if he checks back again. But he bets, we fold. Table 1, we do raise with ace jack. Let's get 3 bets. I am going to 4 bet. Fold to shove, obviously. Jack 5 suited on table 2. We are gonna call. Not the best flop, I would say. Ace King on table 1. We are gonna 3 bet. If the button opens. Does not. So we're gonna 4 bet if the big blind 3 bets. But it does not. So that's it. We ISO now with this one, and I am going to sit out next big blind. Flop an interesting open-ended. I am going to see bet that. He calls, the queen hits. I don't mind to keep firing on this. Something like this to shove river, probably even if he miss. If he does a shove now. Checking back is also an option, I don't mind. Okay. We got it. We are gonna open this if everybody else folds. We have a limp. Ace-7 off plays terribly out of position, so we are just gonna fold. 3-8 off. Muck. And we're sitting out. Okay, so it was a nice session. It was fun to play. Too bad we lost a couple of big spots, but we are still up something. About one stack and a half. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions or anything, please write in a comment, and please subscribe to the channel if you like my content. It's free, first of all, and it's the best way to help the channel grow. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.